Hey there, much love to all junkers. Today, starting a little bit of conversation on the effect of impacts on our body and how to minimize impacts using technique in landing. If you don't know, the connection between impact and arthritis is pretty high, and it's been measured and it's been studied. This study, for example, found that those who did walking had the healthiest knee cartilage, and those who did running, skiing, or squash had degenerating cartilage, increased the risk of osteoarthritis, which is bone on bone, really painful and paralyzing and requires surgery if you can afford it, but that's not a perfect fix. And this is just one study, and there's a lot of them. We can also go on anecdotal evidence and see that for most athletes, it becomes a problem later in life, and for many, it becomes a problem earlier, as we see guys like Brandon Roy develop degenerating bone-on-bone type issues in their 20s, or T-Mac in their 30s. It's just a problem. And we should have more awareness to it because we know that there's a connection and there's things we can do about it as well. So we've established this connection. We know that impact leads to injury. We know that. So let's take a look at dunk physics. Try to simplify this as much as possible. I'm not really a physics expert, so if anyone in the chat is, maybe they can help us improve this resource. Let's talk about the relevant equation for landing. Is force equals mass times acceleration. Acceleration is a measurement of gravitational pull, which is about 10 meters a second squared. So the more time, the faster our acceleration speed. The higher we drop from, the higher we jump, is the more force. And force can be described as the sum, or I want to differentiate between sum force and impact force. I don't know if this is correct, but I believe it is. No matter our landing, where we're dropping from, the force is going to be the same. However, the way that we apply the force and the duration of time that we apply the force can be affected by technique. So again, for this, force equals mass times gravitational acceleration. Mass is our body weight, okay? So essentially, landing force is our body weight times how high that we dropped from. So there's things we can do. First off, the less our body weight, the less our impact. The less we drop from, the less our impact. So the higher we drop, if you see guys dunk, pull up, and then drop from the high point, that's dumb as shit. Drop from the low point, like Tim Duncan. There's reasons that some guys last and some guys don't. I mean, there's more to it than landing technique, but I believe it's a big part. Okay, let's talk about instantaneous force versus sum force. So this is the idea that if our landing impact is over 1,000 pounds, we can take it all at once as an instant impact, or we can spread it out. So this is where Lessons from Parkour is a good resource. If you haven't seen this video, you should check it out because it will definitely improve your understanding of how to land and why to land. But if we look at various equations, pressure, for instance, mass times acceleration over area, the greater area or surface area or muscle area, the less pressure. So in other words, if you have a straight leg landing compared to a 4-limb squat, you can spread the pressure over more of the body. If we also look at impulse, I don't have impulse in here, but pretty simply, the greater time in our landing, if we slide or if we roll or if we run through, we can spread that force over a greater amount of time. In other words, we have a lot of control over our impact in dunking. If we drop from the low point and we have a 9'6" reach, there's no impact. If we spread and roll and run through and slide, then we're spreading out the force, we're spreading out the impact. It's not going to be as bad on our body. And if we use greater muscle area, it's going to be less pressure at any one point. So hope that makes sense to you as we explore the connection between injury and impact and how to minimize impact for dunk training. That's why we care. It's really to prevent injury. And if you don't know, now you know. And I hope that this encourages at least someone to start thinking about their landings as important, if not more important, than their jumps. So let me know what you think in the comments. If you're really into the physics and can elaborate, would love to hear it as well, so we can expand our thinking and our point of view. But peace, and if you want access to this document, email energyefficientbasketball@gmail.com, or I'll probably throw the link right where you can see it. So peace out, happy training all.